All right, guys, part three of the rifle sling, the rifle sling. We got all the borders done, and so we got left our stitching edge all the way around. So you see how that bevel just raised all that. It looks like it raised it up. What in fact it did, it pushed all that down right here. And then on the inside, we run it to where it bevels it back toward the border on this edge here, and it bevels it back to this side, to this border over on this side, and that leaves that center section. Now that center section's finished. We won't be touching that with anything else until we get to the dye process. And so all the rest of the artwork goes in this right here, and I went ahead and knocked a hole in that. That's where the snap's going to go for the strap when the strap folds over, and that goes to the sling swivel and all that. So that's hardwire goes right here, but all the artwork goes inside of this, down this side too, and then down here. And then I beveled around the circle. You've watched me make the circle around my logo there just a little bit ago. And so we're going to start with the basket weave now. And I wetted this again down here on this bottom side, and it's dried up, starting to dry a little bit better than where it was at before. And you can't, I'm trying to see if you can see it, but you see my center line right there. Everything on these goes off of the center line. And so I keep that on purpose to where I can see it, because this is the basket weave stamp. And so you'll have the cross hatch in the middle, and you'll alternate, and I'll show you how I do it. But what I want to do is I want to take the bottom corner on one side and the top corner on the other side and put on my center line and make my first strike. My lighting in here is not as good as I'd like it to be, and I can't hardly see. So I take one, and that gives us our there. And that gives us our angle that we want to use for the basket weave. And so you can see the center line right here. I take my pencil, and you can see the center line's right here, and then and it goes up this way. And so the corner here and the corner there, and then that gives us our little bit of a diagonal pattern. And that, it seems like to me, that always makes it look better. And so the next several stamps, I'm running up that center line. So my next one goes in, my next stamp, the one leg, if you look at it like an H, one leg of the H goes in on the center line, and it's offset, so it'll go above it. And then that top corner, again, trying to see my center line. Well, I've got to where I can't see my center line now. Thought I had a flashlight in here. Let me turn it this way. Maybe I can see it better this way with that light. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me do it this way. I just want to barely mark it. I don't want to put a dent in the, I don't want to put a dent in the leather, but I want to mark it to where I can see it. And then we'll put our top leg or top corner on that center line again, just like that. And we'll do it again. Just like that. The same way coming the other direction. The bottom leg, the bottom corner, goes back on that center line again. And then we start getting into the close to the artwork, and I just want to angle it. You see how I'm in my, I don't know if you can see it very well from where you're at with that camera angle, but I'm getting into my logo down here. And so I want to lift up this bottom leg that's supposed to go on the center line, the bottom corner that's supposed to go on that center line. And I want to lift it up toward the top. We can lift it up too much. And then it runs that center line, just like that. And it only gives you part of that bottom, only gives you part of the bottom. Because we want it to fade into that. I'm gonna go around this with another piece of artwork, and so we want it to fade into that, and then we come back with and we just alternate it. Now, same way with right here, when I get right up there close to that, when I get close to that artwork, I want to tilt it back away from that. I don't want this leg getting up into that artwork, so I want to tilt it back just a fuzz, just like that. And then it's just a matter of connecting the legs. And I like to flip it personally. All right. And so that gives us our pattern for the basket weave. Now, when we get to that point, lay one more right there, just to get it in there. Now, this is a camouflage. It's called a camouflaging tool. It's like almost like a seashell shape, and it's got little spines on it. And this is used You see how that edge doesn't go all the way into the groove where we beveled that groove earlier. So we'll set this. I'll come down here to a certain spot down here next to my logo, and I'll start this. And I'll set those two legs, you can see how it's horseshoe shaped. Trying to get it where it focus. It's horseshoe shaped. And I'll put those 2 feet right in that groove where we beveled earlier. And this camouflage tool takes up the space between that groove and the basket weave. And it will go all the way up. This particular design gets really, really busy right here around the name. And so there's not a bit of sense in putting the basket weave. I mean, the stamp itself is too big. The basket weave stamp itself is too big to run this side on both sides. And so we just camouflage it all the way up, because we're going to turn around and come right back down this same side with this camouflaging tool. And so all that effort of basket weave is covered up. And I've done them that way. I've done a bunch of them that way and run them on up and then gone in with the camouflage tool, and the camouflage tool covered every bit of that work. There wasn't a bit of sense in doing that and running it all the way up there. This just makes a cleaner look. And it follows that, it starts to divide. I didn't realize I'd knocked that down, sorry. So we've got this, we've run it. We've run it up the side from down here at my logo, and we've run it all the way up. And they'll start to divide right here, because now I'm going to go this way and alternate them right back down that same side. Get this to where you can see it a little better. Now you can see it takes up every bit of that space in there. There's not a bit of sense in trying to run that basket weave up that corner, up that side, right in there. And so it takes up every bit of that space. And we'll do the other side the same way, do the top the same way. And then I'm gonna go around my logo down here. And but that's it. I'm gonna put some more basket weave up here on top, and I'm gonna do exactly the same thing on the top that I just did on the bottom. And that's, I'm gonna put my top corner on the center line and the opposite bottom corner on the center line, and that gives it the same exact rotation that we had down here on the bottom. And so it's at the same angle. And so we have the same angle that we have at the bottom. It's hard to see, it's so far apart. I need to turn it this way so I can get that going. And all of that's going to roll. Every bit's going to be covered up by a camouflager, or and the border part of it is. And so I'll take my camouflaging tool and I'll start. It's hard for me to get down there. I want to start exactly straight across from my other one. All right, I'm going to pause the video and we'll be back shortly with the continuation of this rifle sling.